Mm. Hey y'all, welcome to the Devon A. Morris Unfiltered Call-In Show. Have a seat. Let's get ready. You have any questions? Come on, call in. Come on to that Discord channel. Do me a favor, get the unfiltered crew some finger snaps. We're ready to get started here. Mondays, 8 p.m. Every single Monday, we're here. I'm excited about it. Are you? Let's get this show started, y'all. The greatest Scrum show on earth. I'll see y'all soon. Enjoy. Hey, my stream went bad on LinkedIn, so I don't know what to do about that, but that's okay. We'll get back at them next time. If you don't know, my name is Devon Morris. This is the Unfiltered Show where we talk about Scrum, Agile, entrepreneurship, things of that nature. So we just kind of get here, have an amazing time, and just keep it rocking, keep it going. I answer your questions. We deal with things that you're kind of going through in this workplace. Boy, your world of work, right, is what we kind of do. Today, nothing real big. I just got into my thoughts today. But I wrote an article that I released today. I was looking at it and I just kind of went to a place where I'm just like, the elders' wisdom. And I have another thing that I want to talk about related to the elders' wisdom. But I think I'll start off with this today, and then we'll just kind of move on from there because I'm just feeling good. So, couple things. What's going on for me this week? Heavy schoolwork, man. Heavy schoolwork, like heavy schoolwork. Um, yeah, yeah, a lot of schoolwork for me. I wish I could tell you something different, but it's just heavy. Um, and ain't much I can do around that, but it just is what it is, right? So I'm over here debating on the things I should be doing and how I spend my time. But yeah, man, it's heavy. I can't get around the word heavy. Schoolwork, right, is probably the biggest thing I'm going through. The real question is, what are you going through? Um, because at the end of the day, we're all in this journey of life together, right? We really are. We just really are, right? And being on this journey of life together, we do what we are supposed to do and what we can to do. I'll make sure I give the bullet points real quick about those 10 ways to turn your career into a success. There's 10 things on there, probably 10 things that I think about, but I'm telling you, as soon as I thought about them, man, as soon as I remember writing this thing, and then I just remember reading it on Sunday, and I just had a whole nother perspective, right? But the truth is, I'm debating about a couple things. So you know how we do. If you got questions, drop them in the comments. Make sure you say hi, so then we're good to go, and we will take it from there. What else is going on with me beside work? Never beside school stuff, client stuff, always client stuff going on. Just being as helpful as I can be. You understand? That's all I really ever try to do with a client is really be as helpful as I can be in terms of the client, right? Realistically, that's kind of the best that I can do, and then leave them in a better position than what I found them. That's always my intention every time I have an interaction with a client. Every time, not one time, not two times. I mean, every time I try my best to leave the client better than when I found them. Right? That's important to me. It always has been important to me, and it's just not going to change anytime soon. It just is what it is, right? Um, Other than that, man, everything else is just kind of pretty solid. You know, I'm just trying to do what I do, and then just kind of make it all happen, and then just kind of go from there. I see a couple people are here, so hey Rajiv, hey Acha, how you doing? Um, Acha, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, brother. Right, but welcome. Um, other people as you come in, they'll drop their information. So tonight is gonna be real simple. It may be a quick night because I do got work to do, but I'm gonna ask you prepare your questions if you have any of them because I'm probably gonna make it a quick night tonight. So prepare your questions. I'll talk about these 10 things real quick for us. You know, it's always been a debate on what we do in terms of the topic, but 10 ways to make sure your career is, you know, as successful as possible. Um, I'm going to say the first thing on that list that is important for me is to be punctual and reliable. To be punctual and reliable. Um, I mean, this is it's like it goes without saying, right? I hate when people make me late. You understand? When people make me late, it's a whole different story. I have personal fits, and then I put them in a position where they can't make me late anymore. Those are just facts, right? So I like to be on time for everything, whether it's a meeting or something else, unless there's a reason that's pulling me away, right? You know, even when in these places where we set up back-to-back meetings, I kind of make sure that I leave in enough time to make it to wherever I need to make it to. This was an interesting thing when you were physically going to meeting rooms inside of a big building because you may have to walk squarely across the building. And I make sure that I set up enough time to be able to do that walk, right? So for me, when it comes to meetings, interviews, whatever it is, I like to be early, right? So, and then I can take a breath, right? The second thing on my list of those important things to think about in terms of career success, the second thing on that list is to dress for success, but I'm gonna say dress appropriate. I won't even say dress appropriately. The best way I can say this to you is my grandmother taught me a way to present myself. And a perfect example is when I became a certified Scrum trainer or any interview for CST, I walked into that interview suited and booted. And it was the first time that the TAC, the committee, actually seen anybody walk in there with a suit. I didn't walk in there with a suit because I was trying to impress them. I was trying to make sure my grandmother wouldn't be frown on me. You understand? You know, so it doesn't matter. It never mattered how great or what brands in terms of clothes that I had, but there was always a way to make sure that those things are presentable. And making sure that things are presentable in my world is probably more important to me than anything else. So, you know, I try to show up today's world as authentic as I desire to. Nothing really crazy. You know, the other day I had, you know, cut off, you know, a tank top shirt on. I'm not gonna call it a wife beater, a tank top shirt on, right? And it was, you know, just a purple shirt. And then when I had to meet with the client virtually, I went and put something else on, right? There's certain spaces and places. I mean, I know I can do that on a show, but in terms of the client, I couldn't do that, right? So I went in and grabbed a different shirt and threw that shirt on, right? So make sure that you dress in a way that is presentable for whoever you are, right? Whatever that means to you in your world. For me, you know, it's like dressing in your Sunday's best, right? So, and as a kid, I was happy to dress up. As a kid, I was happy to dress up. I was happy to dress up because I didn't have a lot of stuff to dress in. So today, I'm cool with whatever dressing up I need to do. I don't have a problem with it. I just never will, right? But I just clearly remember going in there suited and booted for that interview, and I didn't have to. I really didn't have to, but I made sure that I did, right? I made sure that I did. I mean, I just couldn't. You know, it's kind of like people that's pass on. You don't want to embarrass them still, and I just couldn't embarrass my people, right? So dress for success, yeah, but dress in a way to make sure that you're presentable. In a way that represents you well, right? That's the best way I can say that. You know, another thing that I think you need to be prepared for success is you need to build skills. You need to build your skill set so you have the skills needed for the next place you want to go for while you're building the skills for the place after that. So I always think 2 moves ahead. So, like the next place, take care of that ASAP. But you should be thinking about the move after the next move and where you're going to be or where you want to be, right? And you need to start kind of pulling together skills for that one. Does that make sense? I'm literally working on my next step in terms of the PhD, right? So I'm building, like, I'm getting this PhD to build what I'm ready for the next step. Like, I got a step I'm going through and I go through now, but there's the next step. So the PhD is giving me the skills that I need for the step after the next step. Well, I'm gonna form some other entities and do all kinds of stuff, right? And so the steps that I'm doing now, that's rebranding in terms of talking about careers and jobs, that's gonna change to be about professional development and taking you to new levels, right? Well, I'm gonna be able to incorporate team effectiveness into that, resilience, things of that nature, right? Again, it's the next step. It's not. It's the step after the next step, is what I should say, right? And so I'm building the skills for that step after the next step. That's what I'm doing, right? And so you should be thinking the same way in terms of building your skills, right? Um, hey, Miss White. Hey, Patrick. How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I saw y'all hellos, so make sure everybody you say hello in the chat, in the comments, right? Next thing is be a problem solver, but I'm gonna say a little different than that. Be a person that can help bring solutions to the table. You know, that can help bring solutions to the table. Solutions that work for that scenario, for that situation. When you are a problem solver, you're a person that brings solutions to the table. People like you. People like you because they know that you're there to put the best in, day out. And if you're able to do that, you're going to be you're always going to be in a good position. Um, you know, as a past software developer, I always think about problems and how to solve problems. You give me a problem, I may be thinking about how to solve it, and sometimes I got to say to myself, like, I just can't help everybody, right? But be a good problem solver. Be a person that knows how to bring solutions to the table. That would be another one that I would say. Number 5 is get feedback regularly. I was just, sometimes I watch things on YouTube, and I remember a guy broke down the Kendrick Lamar 616, and then, he broke down another video in terms of rap lyrics, and it wasn't that good, right? And then somebody else gave him some feedback, and he crashed out on him. He crashed out. He went crazy and started calling the guy all kinds of stuff just because he gave him constructive feedback. A guy who's been around hip hop game for many, many years, and he crashed out on him, right? And that's not good, right? Learn how to take feedback well. Learn how to use that as a tool for your growth. If you can use that feedback as a tool for your growth, you can turn into somebody that's fairly dangerous really, really fast. So I think it's important for you to think about that, kind of move forward with that. And feedback kind of makes your product, makes you better, right? I always think of it that way, right? Because, it's just one of those things like having a mentor. I don't want a mentor that's not going to give me feedback. You feel me? I just don't want a mentor that's not going to give me feedback. I don't want a mentor that's going to tear me down in a way where I don't feel I'm so depressed that I can't make it through the next day either, right? But I want somebody who's going to be real with me, give me good feedback, let me know what's really happening, what's really going on, so I can get better at whatever I'm trying to do. Like, that goes without saying to me, right? And so being able to take feedback is just one of those extremely important things. Yeah, Miss White comes back and says, also find a problem and bring solutions to the table. Yes, get feedback. Yeah, all 3 of these things. She wrapped it up in one on me. You see how women just do things, just make men look good. Thank you for helping me look good there. Cybersecurity conference today. See, you probably had to pay for that cybersecurity conference. But cybersecurity, that's a good field, man. That's a good field. I tell you all something. I was looking at data around cybersecurity, and it's definitely an area a bunch of young folks are going into. And on top of that, it's a definite area a bunch of minorities are going into, for sure, for sure. It's a very high percentage of minorities going into cybersecurity. So just an FYI, I think it's going to be around for a long time. So, cybersecurity conference. If you don't know where you're going, what direction you're going in, cybersecurity is pretty solid. And it's going to continue to grow, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. All right, so your relationships, foster those relationships, build your relationships, build relationships that aren't just superficial though. Build relationships where you can depend on somebody, where you can rely on somebody, right? I have relationships with people where if I called on them and I needed something, they're gonna make an effort. They're gonna make an effort. Does that make sense? They're gonna make a real effort toward whatever it is that I need help with. But I do the same for them. You understand? So make sure you build some really strong relationships, right? Yeah, they are. Yeah, Petra, I agree with you completely. They are looking for people. They have all kinds of programs all over the place. If there was a hot field that's growing at a fast rate, it definitely is cybersecurity. I kid you not. I have two, three, like three young people. Well, no, I say two young people that are associated with me in my life that are in the cybersecurity. I want to say three because I think one of them's in the military and thinking about doing that too. So literally, hot field, definitely something that ain't going away anytime soon. And with all this warring and stuff like that, it's gonna become ever so great, right? So I said number 6 was build strong relationships. Number 7, go above and beyond. You know, it's one of those things where in software we talk about gold plating, right? Doing more than what you should, right? And I always think of just that extra little mile, right? In the business, I try to always go that extra mile, right? But it's one of those things when you go above and beyond, you tend to stand out. That's the biggest thing. You tend to stand out, even if it's not a public display of you standing out. You at least stand out in people's minds that you're willing to take the extra mile. You're willing to take the extra steps. You're willing to put a more quality into whatever it is, right? And so I would say to you, definitely find ways to go above beyond. Make sure you be professional. Like, the first person I ever fired was at Burger King back when I was a kid. And the biggest reason why I had to fire them is because they weren't being professional. They was a cashier and they wasn't being professional with customers, and it didn't look good for us. It just didn't, right? And having pride in your professionalism is an everyday thing. It's just part of what you should do. I have a certain pride in my professionalism that goes without saying. A certain way that I conduct myself. I just always bring that to the table. Number 9, your brand. Not just your resume, your brand. In today's world, we are far more than just our resumes. We've always been, right? But we only have to really present our resume. But your entire online presence says something about you. We just if you've been watching the news cycle, we just heard about the guy running for governor in North Carolina, Mark Robinson, saying some unsightly things, right? And that doesn't line up with the person that he's presented, right? And so that stuff has nothing to do with any campaign he's ever run, but it has something to do with a way that he carried himself on the internet. Okay, so I'm just gonna say to you, it's not just about a resume. Your entire brand likely exists in that space. So do something that's gonna make yourself look good and not horrible. Because when that time comes, I know people that weren't hired, didn't get an opportunity because there was something online that didn't present them well. It happens. It really does happen. And people won't tell you that. People won't tell you that. They won't. You just won't get the job. You understand? So it just is what it is. So just be professional in all situations, right? Put yourself in the best light you possibly can, right? So your brand is important. Your brand is super important, right? And then last but not least, I'm gonna say show up and show out. Show up and show out. Show up and show out. I always show up and show out. Like, I'm an introvert. Like, I'm literally a big time introvert. And for the 30 minutes that I'm in your presence, I'm going to show up and show out. People that come to my training, you know what I do? Show up and show out. Because if I show up and show out, they're not going to forget me. They're not going to forget me. You know, I used to do that by doing physical things like running around the room or something like that. But, you know, I soon learned that I can do it through the inflection of my voice, through, you know, how I project, through the words that I use, how I pile them together or sequence them to some degree. You know, I can get very animated, you know, without jumping up and down and running. Those are things that I use to my advantage because I want to showcase me. I want to provide people insight into what I bring to the table. So I don't just show up, I show out every single time. Every single time. And so I'm gonna leave it at that. I think the next show though, I want to talk about things from a more personal perspective. This is really from a professional perspective. I was thinking to myself about 11 things that I learned from my grandparents that I think I want to pass on, right? And I may just talk about it on the show, then give one per, and then just kind of go from there. But here's the deal. We're going to close that segment and we're going to open up the floor for questions that you have. So any questions from anybody in the room? Any questions from anybody in the room? Let's pull it together, get it going, make it happen, and then we can go from there. Yeah, that Mark Robinson thing was crazy, man, on Friday, man. That mess was crazy. Like, that mess was crazy. You know, I didn't even look at the rest of the stuff. They ended up taking it down, but I didn't even look at the rest of the stuff. That mess is crazy. You understand? To get caught up like that mess is crazy. And it from a guy who wasn't saying a whole bunch of positive stuff, and then you get something more like less positive. Like, it was crazy. So I'm just like, whoa, man, whoa. People today is crazy. So let's see. Patrick, what's up, man? How you doing? Let's see. Patrick said, yeah, it's easy to get into. Lots of free training options, right? A growing field that is going nowhere anytime soon. Yeah, talking about that cyber security, man. No joke. And you don't have to have a technical degree to be successful. There you go. That's probably a big deal right there. Probably some people are really, really scared of jumping in there. But I definitely, if I was 20, I definitely would be jumping towards cybersecurity. I would be jumping toward I'll try to jump toward software development, knowing me. But cybersecurity and software development would probably be the mix that I would have right now. And keeping this agile stuff kinda as a part of it too. So I definitely would do that. And one of my kids who is into cybersecurity, he definitely got a CSM for me and CSPO, stuff like that, to make sure that he has that advantage, right? But yeah, man, I mean, when I say to you, people are paying some of these kids, man, paying for them to go to school, like the whole program. And there are free programs online, but the adept ones with mentors and stuff like that, man, I've seen them. States pay for that stuff, right? So, you know, it's one of those things where if you got the I think you can make a career out of cybersecurity. I really do. The only way that cybersecurity goes away if computers just go away, and we don't see that happening anytime soon. So I'm gonna say to you right now, if I'm brand new on the block or I want a fast career change, I may go in that direction because the next 20 years it's still gonna be here. And I think AI is gonna help it because AI does this thing where it enhances productivity by reducing the amount of manual labor. So you do less manual labor, it does the rest in automation, freeing up time for you to do more. So it is a unique space that we're in because, you know, AI is a disruptor right now. Cybersecurity is jumping in the game and saying, look, I'm here, man. I ain't going nowhere. And I think that these things you need to just go ahead and just kind of take advantage of, like, legitimately. Like, you need to jump in, take advantage of them, and keep it going. That's how I would think about doing it. So, you know, it just is what it is. It's just that truth. It's just that truth. But yeah, I definitely would think about doing that. And I didn't look it up in terms of the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, but I definitely would go look it up there to see what the outlook looks like. But I guarantee you, it's growing at six to 9% or more is the expected growth until like 1932 or 34, whatever it goes out. Because it's a 10-year outlook, but you only get as far as 8 years out. So yeah, I would be all over that, man. I'd be all over it. Like I'd be all over it, no question, right? Some of you all, that may make sense for you at this point, right? You want to get into a career that pays good money, and especially toward the beginning when it's early. I wouldn't even say it's early adopters right now. We are past the early adopter stage, but still, good money get paid after the early adopter stage. I definitely would be on the bandwagon for that one, right? Do I sound crazy? I'm not. I'm definitely not crazy on that one because I see it too much. I see it too much. I just see it too much. Um, I really, really do. And the thing that for me it sounds fun. Well, I don't know if it's fun because if it's like putting firewalls up, like those virtual firewalls, putting those up. Yeah, you got to know some stuff, right? But if it ain't that, it sounds like it's fun to me. Well, the truth is, any job that I'm at, I tend to make it fun. I wouldn't take it as not going to be, if I can't turn it into some type of fun for me, I'm not really that interested. Um, that's the reason why I say to people, man, don't look for a job when you're desperate. Don't make a deal when you're desperate. Don't do that. Don't do that. When you're desperate, don't make big decisions in your life, right? When you're desperate, don't do that. Don't do that. Like big decisions, you should not be desperate, right? Things are gonna have a huge impact. You should not be in a place of desperation. If you are, you got to make a decision. I would take just a moment to think about it, right? No. You don't want to be in that situation. I mean, you do not make decisions when you're desperate. Is the point, right? I don't care what kind of decision it is. Okay. So, any questions? Any questions? I do not have my LinkedIn people here because once again, LinkedIn just didn't function for me, right? Something happened in terms of the setup. Looked like the setup was fine to me, and it hicked up. It just did a bad job, right? So, nothing I can do about that. There's nothing I can do about that whatsoever. So we'll miss the LinkedIn folks tonight, but that's okay. It's all good. They can see it on YouTube. Right? Right. You had someone reach out to me today about a PMO director position, and so I recommended them get their brand right? Get their resume right, get their LinkedIn right, and other things related to their brand, so they can really do a solid job search because, person I help with their job search, they got one of the jobs that we did on the first day, they got a rejection from that job today, which is from a real person. So we got through both applicant tracking systems for the two jobs that we paid for using the system that we utilize. So we got getting the real people is where we wanted the shot at. And so we know that whatever we were doing since we ran the test then, we know that what we were doing was the correct stuff to do because we made it through the ATS. Okay, she didn't get a rejection or anything like that sooner. One of those jobs she wasn't qualified for, but we got an 80% job scan match on it and was able to go ahead and submit her. And we got to a real person. So sometimes you just really need to get to a real person when it comes to this job search. If you get to a real person, you're looking good at that point. You're looking pretty at that point. You're looking pretty. You feel me? You got to get to a real person, right? And then again, the techniques in terms of that Brandon Land stuff, I think is where it's at. I've seen it work, and I'm making it work in other ways, right? So one day I got to work on my brand because my LinkedIn doesn't look the way it should look. It doesn't look anywhere near it. I don't even put my certifications up there, so I need to just do all those kind of things. Since I don't, but I will at some point. Other questions? Any questions you all have? Is my question. Well, I'm about to give y'all a big proposal here, right? Because I think I'm gonna have to switch things up, right? So I'm busy beyond belief. So I may just go to opening up the show once a month for live. right? And then just start making some videos to put videos out there for you. But for the live, I think that I may go to doing it once a month, maybe the first Monday of the month or something like that, or second Monday of the month, whatever it's gonna be. Only reason why I say that is because you guys don't have a lot of questions, and I'm getting closer and closer to dissertation. And I'm really, my head is so deep off in the dissertation. Like today, I'm over here. Um, you know, I read a bunch of articles recently about the integration of AI, and how most people, when they initially jump into AI, they don't trust it. They don't trust it unless there's some collaboration with a human somewhere within the AI, along the path of whatever the workflow is, right? Um, and if something goes wrong, they put a heavier, much more distrust on AI decisions by itself versus a human combined with AI or a human, right? And so, I'm over here trying to figure out where I'm gonna go with this dissertation, and I may incorporate that in there. Resilience, emotional contagion is another option there. Coaching, just all these different options, right? And I'm trying to figure out a way to combine this stuff, but my mind is so heavy off into it that you know, I'm not giving you the quality that I need to because of that, right? So that's the reason why I say that. So I don't know. What do you all think? Am I crazy? I gotta get this PhD thing done. But understand, I'm not slacking on the PhD thing. As I would tell you, I made the PhD thing, school, my top priority. It's the number one priority of all the things that I have to do, even work. Work comes below that. But the top priority is the school thing, right? And with that, I've gotten straight A's across the board because I've made sure I made time to focus on it. And so every day I'm logging in to do some work on the PhD. I'm gonna actually do some work before I shut it down for the night on that PhD, because it's just a lot of reading, a lot of writing. I probably spent 4 or 5 hours in that space today, right? Today alone, not to mention what I spent this past weekend, what I'm spend every day this week. I carve out hours and just kind of block time to just work on class assignments, PhD stuff, all these things due. I got to start thinking about selection of a chair. So a lot of stuff I'm a little nervous about. I told y'all about imposter syndrome and stuff like that before. I get hit with these things at times, but I find ways to get through it. But yeah, man, I'm telling you right now. Do I sound crazy, y'all? Or I sound on point? Let me double check. Any questions? I don't see any questions have dropped. So, like I said, you all have the answers that you need. But yeah. I think we may go down to once a month live, so and then I can make sure that I'm working through my program and I'm good. Because once I jump into dissertation, man, my mind's gonna be deep there, man. I wish I could say something different, but this is gonna be so deep there, it's gonna be ridiculous. Like I'm gonna be super deep, super deep, super deep, super deep. Because I want to do something that's gonna be good enough for me to utilize as work after, right? Because again, I'm changing how things look for me. It's interesting, but you'll see what that change looks like, and actually, many of you will see the journey along the way, which should be an interesting case study for some of you all, because I'm actively doing it. The things that I talk about, I'm actively doing. Okay. So yeah, so any questions? Any questions? Any questions about any of this stuff? Any questions? Because other than that, I'm gonna shut it down and keep it moving. Any questions? Any questions? But if you haven't noticed, I'm throwing stuff out on LinkedIn almost every day. I'm at least in a month grabbing 3 articles a week and redoing 3 articles a week. It took me days upon days to rewrite several of these. Okay, what's my PhD? Well, let's see. No questions tonight. Always a lot of great information. Just trying to make some moves in the workplace to get a different perspective. I got you. Keep making your moves. Keep making your moves. Don't be never be stagnant. Um, I'm getting a PhD in industrial organizational psychology with a specialization in evidence-based coaching. So that's my focus. So pretty much is like psychology at work, um, with evidence-based coaching as my specialization. I've already earned the board certified coach, so I've done all the things for my specialization. A lot of people wait to the end of their program to do their specialty stuff, but I did mine before because I needed a way to motivate myself, right? And so I made sure within a year and a half or so, I was able to secure that board certified coach. And again, that's something I can use now if I chose to, right? And so I needed to get that under my belt so I can make sure I stay motivated to get through the rest of the program. Because when you start talking about 3 to 5 years doing something, it's just it's not anything that anybody wants to really do. You know, you start thinking I'm in 2021 or 2020, and I'm gonna be done in 2024, 2025. You know, I'm starting today in 2028. Like, that's a long time. That's a long go. Um, you know, and so every assignment is tough. You know, when you see that light at the end of the tunnel, like every assignment is tough now, because it's just like, I'm almost done. I still got to do this though. I'm almost done. I still got to do this, right? And Patrick, this is the last two classes before I get into prospectus. Once I get into perspective is about talking about, or at least talking about the plan on your PhD. And so, you know, in the next couple weeks, I'm going to be asking for a committee chair. You know, yeah, yeah. Next couple weeks, I'll be asking for a committee chair. So this is where the rubber really meets the road at this point. So it's just like, woo, and that mess is scary for me right now, brother. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's really scary for me right now because it's just like I really got to start doing this. I got to start applying this stuff, right? And so, you know, the beauty though has been what I've been learning. What I've learned, Patrick, has been off the chain. I mean, so now the stuff I'm learning, I've been applying at clients, things that really work, things that don't work. You know, a simple thing is, you know, I used to do a bunch of team building activities, and a lot of times those team building activities was based on fun. But you know, I've learned from studies now that you need to do team building activities that's based on the team and the team's work, because team building activities based on the work that the team does allows them to learn how to work together. Screw them hanging out with each other. Like, forget them hanging out with each other, right? You can't guarantee that team members are going to hang out with each other, but you can guarantee that they're going to work together. And so now I've learned to build my team building activities more around them learning about being a better team, not these superficial things that we tend to do that don't give a whole lot of oomph to that teamwork every day. You know, and what factors are really important in terms of building a team, right? And how they need to kind of be together, distance, all those things, right? So those are things that I've learned over this program that's been really, really helpful. And not to mention, you know, what really works in terms of stuff, right? Like sprint goals, that stuff works. But there's things you got to do to make sure sprint goals work that are evidence based. I'm gonna have to write a book about it or something, right? Throw some of these things at people so they can have an idea of, hey, this is what really is going down, right? So yeah, so that right there is what it is the truth. So yeah, so nothing but goodness. So yeah, so I'm over here like, I'm great. So other thoughts, other questions for the folks that's here. Let's see. I got Miss White, I got Patrick. Let's see, Hacha. Let's see, Rajiv, the crew, right? So let me take a look at the calendar here and talk about when the next show is gonna be, because I'm going to once. I gotta go to once a month. I need to get through my school stuff seriously. So I'm thinking about just making it the first Monday of every month right now, and then see what I can do in terms of videos and continue writing articles. Make sure those articles are available to you. I know, Patrick, you get my newsletter. Hopefully the rest of you all get my newsletter that's here. because if you do, you see that I put out 3 articles every newsletter. Three articles every newsletter, with one of them being a featured article. Different stuff, right? Like how to communicate with your boss, and you know, one time I talked about leadership and AI, right? So hopefully the newsletter is helpful. Like I've been doing a lot of stuff that has taken away from me being able to do heavier stuff on the show. Um, but again, the newsletter has a bigger response than the show. So I want to make sure that the newsletter is touching you all, so then you all get value, a lot of value in terms of that newsletter. So hopefully you're definitely enjoying it, right? Enjoying that newsletter. So okay, all right. I'm getting that. So I'm definitely not gonna stop the newsletter. That's a every week thing. I've been putting that thing out every week. Every week I'm curating, right? Every week. Yes, that is true. You don't have a newsletter, just go to devonmorris.com. You go on that first page, look at the bottom, that you see a pop-up that says, hey, newsletter. Just enter your information in there, you can get the newsletter, right? But we getting that thing out every single week. And we'll keep doing that. And I'm personally touching all those things, right? Yeah. And LinkedIn, I'm putting something out on LinkedIn every day. Like almost every day I'm putting something out. Like almost every day. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is articles. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday I put articles out, right? And so, if you want to see what's going to be in a future newsletter, it's one of the articles that I put out on LinkedIn already, and then I get those articles and pile them up into a newsletter, 3 a week. And so I got another, 6 to 10 articles scheduled on LinkedIn. Those things that have not been put in a newsletter will be put in a newsletter. However, I do got to revisit little columns. So we do revisit an old newsletter, old column, old article that's already been in a newsletter before. That there's always a revisit. But it's been a lot of things, like talking about burnout. Burnout's always been one of my favorite topics. To networking, giving spirit, just different things. So I think the newsletter is solid, right? The newsletter is solid. It's probably where I'm putting a good amount of my quality time in is that newsletter and the articles, like the articles and the newsletter. Yeah. So it's good. So that means y'all not gonna kill me about getting down to one time a month here. And then if I can do more than that, but I doubt it because I'm doing this PhD thing, then I will make sure that I just release a video. So you might get a notification here and there with a video release. I can't guarantee I'll do that weekly because it takes time to edit a video and make it not that I don't know how to do it. I know how to do it, right? But it just takes time to do that kind of stuff, right? I may go ahead and get some shorts out because we've been doing some shorts. So maybe we'll get a couple shorts out of every single week to go on the channel. So we may do that. So we're just doing what I can do, right? I'm doing what I can do, right? When I had time, I don't have a class, stuff like that. I bang stuff out, like literally bang stuff out. It is a labor of love. I could say that. All right, then, y'all. I don't see any new questions. Thanks for the encouragement. I appreciate you all, seriously. If you have any thoughts, any questions, you're always welcome to reach out to me. You know how to reach out to me, right? Just comment on one of the posts. I'll see it. Comment on one of the videos. I'll see it. And you can reach out to me through that or any other way. All right, so on that note, well, I'm Mr. Devon Morris on every single platform. I'm literally Mr. Devon Morris on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. On YouTube is the only place where I'm Devon Morris Live. I think I'm going to change that. On that note, y'all, this has been amazing. Always a blessing. So I will see y'all first month in October. And then we'll take it from there. And we'll just get our monthly rotation going. So y'all, peace. Y'all have a good one. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.